I am Eliza, and I was 15 years old when the story I will never forget began. It was the summer of 2001 in Millbrook, Colorado, a small town where people left their doors unlocked and greeted each other by name at the grocery store. The kind of place where, in theory, nothing bad could grow without everyone noticing. But evil does not grow loudly, it grows behind closed doors. My parents left for 3 months. My father was an industrial technician, working on major projects in other states. My mother organized exhibitions for a private museum. It was the first time both of them would be gone for that long. Diane Whitmore immediately offered to help us. She insisted. I remember how she told my mother, Eliza is almost an adult. I will treat her like my own daughter. She had 5 children, a large house, a good reputation, a calm voice. The first 2 weeks were quiet, then things began to change. Not suddenly, not violently. Discourage the work. She woke me up at 5:30 in the morning. She said that if I lived under her roof, I had to contribute. At first it sounded reasonable, but contribute became doing everything. I washed the dishes for the entire family. I cleaned the bathrooms. I did the laundry. I ironed her children's shirts. I cleaned the basement. If there were crumbs left on the table, it was my fault. If someone was late to school, it was my fault. If she had a bad day, it was my fault. Lucas, my younger brother, was protected. He's too little, she would say. You're strong. But I wasn't strong. I was just alone. The thefts. Then things started disappearing. A bracelet, cash from the kitchen, a scarf. She would find them in my closet. I remember the first time she screamed, I do not tolerate theft in my house. I cried. I swore I hadn't taken anything. Her children watched me like an animal caught in a trap. She made me kneel in the kitchen for 2 hours. She said it was a lesson for thieves. After that, things kept disappearing, and they kept appearing among my belongings. I began to wonder if I was losing my mind, if maybe I had taken them without remembering. That is what manipulation does. It makes you doubt yourself. The rain. Millbrook had short, violent summer storms. One evening, after she found a necklace in my backpack, she pushed me outside. It was pouring. This is your reward for what you've lost from my house, she said. Maybe the water will wash the lies away. I stood outside for almost an hour, soaked to the skin. Neighbors drove past. No one stopped. That night I understood that isolation is not just being locked in a room, it is being seen and still ignored. The clothes. One morning, one of my favorite blouses was torn at the side. Diane said I must have snagged it somewhere. Another day, a skirt had been subtly cut at the hem. When I asked, she said coldly, maybe if you took care of your things, they wouldn't get ruined. Years later, I would remember that she was the only one who washed my clothes before handing them back to dry. She tore small pieces, just enough not to look intentional. Just enough to make me feel careless, guilty, inferior. The hatred. I did not understand where that hatred came from. I had done nothing. I had not provoked her. I had not spoken back. And yet she looked at me as if my existence offended her. She began saying strange things. Some people get everything without deserving it. Some girls are too privileged. Not all mothers know how to appreciate what they have. At 15, you do not understand the subtext of adults. You only feel the hostility. The breaking point. In October 2001, after an entire day without food, as punishment, I fainted at school. Teachers called the nurse. Questions began. Diane tried to explain everything as teenage dramatics. But something in my voice, in my body, in my eyes, made the adults hesitate before closing theirs. The investigation was slow, but enough to get us out of there. My parents returned immediately. My mother was crying. My father was silent. I believed it was over then. I did not know the truth was only half uncovered. 10 years later. 10 years later, I was 25 when I learned the detail that turned my life upside down again. A casual conversation. An old friend of my father, a comment said too lightly. Diane had loved my father, not a quiet love, not a simple crush, an old obsession. Before my parents were married, she had been close to him. My mother knew nothing. My father had never spoken about it. When my mother insisted that we stay specifically with Diane because she has the biggest house and seems so responsible, she did not know she was leaving her daughter in the house of a woman who hated her existence. She did not hate me for who I was. She hated me because I was his daughter, because I had his face, because I laughed like him, because I was living proof of a life she did not have. All the punishments, all the staged thefts, the rain, the torn clothes, the humiliation, they were not about discipline. They were about jealousy, about a rivalry I did not even know existed. What truly broke me? Not the cold, not the work, not the rain, but the realization that an adult can project an unfulfilled love onto a child and turn it into cruelty. That hatred can hide behind rules. That jealousy can wear the face of a respectable woman. I am Eliza. I was 15 years old when my story began, and I learned that sometimes the most painful secret is not what is done to you, but the reason why it is done.